Hello. I had a doctor's appointment today. It was my annual Medicare physical, I guess. And he handed me this. Have you had the talk? A conversation about advanced care planning. I haven't really gone through it, but I want to talk to you about how important it is to not just let your family know your wishes your health your health care after what if you become incapacitated and unable to express them on your own. um, I don't know why I've put it off, because I know firsthand how important it is to fill it out, keep a copy or make copies and give them to people who you appoint as your proxy, and also a copy to your doctor's office. Now, with you know the digital age, they can upload that into your file so that if there was a car accident, if there was something that made you incapacitated, unable to voice your wishes, that, or even say you had a stroke and you couldn't speak, um, if they know, if they have it in their records, it'll show up. Chances are they're in a group but I can't think of what it's called, where the hospital and all the doctors all share the ability to get into your medical records. Here in the Lynchburg area, it's Centra. They handle all the hospitals are Centra. The doctors are affiliated with Centra. Um, all of that, and they can get into your files. I mean, obviously, they're not just going to go in and look around. There's protocols, but I know there's towards Virginia Beach. There's Centera. There's I can't think of them now, but there are these conglomerates of healthcare all around the country. In the US, I don't know what it's like in Canada or any other states. Canada probably it's a um, nationwide database. Um, but my mother never had an actual advanced care um, paperwork done. She had told me that I was her proxy, but as far as I know, nothing was ever put in writing. Um, just by talking, over conversations that we'd had over the years and stuff, I was pretty clear on what her wishes would be. And she was in the hospital for 6 weeks. Various things. Her heart was weak. She had bleeding ulcer that just they couldn't stop the bleeding. Finally, they did, and she, stopped needing transfusions. And so that was their primary concern. And then the next concern was her heart, and they wanted to send her to another facility that was, had the best cardiac care in the area. There was no room, there were no rooms there, so they sent her to a nursing home / rehab center to wait for a room. And, this way she would have nursing care. Um, a doctor would come in and see her every day, but she wouldn't be using up resources in the hospital just to monitor her. So we got her settled. She was doing well. She was talking about going to the dining room for a meal, but I think she decided the move was enough, and she was gonna eat in her room. And she did. She ate while I was there, and she was sitting up on the side of her bed, and she was doing really well. So I went back. I was staying in her house. This was in Florida. So I went back to the house, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, I got a phone call that she'd been taken to the ER. So after finding out which hospital she was taken to, because there's quite a few in that area, I got there and, rushed up to the desk. There was nobody there. It was the emptiest ER I'd ever seen. And the woman there behind the desk said, "They're working on her." And I said, "Well, can I go back?" "No, the doctors are working on her right now." I said, "Well, what's wrong?" And she said, "The doctors are with her, and I don't know, that's all I can say. Someone will be out to let you know what. So they came out. No, nobody actually came out. The receptionist called me up after what felt like forever and said she was admitted and told me what room she was in. So I went up there, and she was intubated, which means they put a tube down her throat to breathe for her. And, it was taped all over her mouth, and she was out of it. She was medicated, heavily medicated. And, I couldn't talk to her. She couldn't talk, obviously. We couldn't communicate. And it kind of went on like this for maybe another week. I don't remember the exact timeline. This was 10 years ago. Well, almost 11 this December. And they kept asking me, do you want to sign a DNR? And I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure whether that's what she wanted. But I kind of figured maybe it was, from things we had talked about. If she had said if there was no real hope, why put her body through, resuscitation and everything. And I was upset mainly because if I had been allowed in the room with her, if I'd been allowed in the ER to be with her, I would have told them I'm her proxy, and she would not want to be intubated, because that's what she had said. She didn't want a tube put in her. She didn't want machines breathing for her. And I knew that for my father. He was dying of lung cancer, or not lung cancer, brain cancer. And he got to a point where he couldn't communicate, much less make decisions. But because it had been talked about, he was DNR, and because, the brain cancer was terminal. And, so he was DNR, he was not to be intubated. And I know my mother felt the same way. But because there was nothing in her file, and I had nothing written that I could show them, she was intubated without anybody asking about it because it wasn't in her file not to. And so then the doctor kept saying, well, we can try we can do a trial extubation to see if she can breathe on her own. And I said, okay, when are we going to do this? And he kept putting it off. He kept saying, let's let her get a little stronger. Let's let her get a little stronger. Well, she wasn't getting any stronger. I mean, her heart was beating okay, I guess, but her breathing didn't seem any better. She was doped up all the time. She'd start to come out of it a little bit, and she'd indicate that she wanted it out. She didn't want it. She'd try to pull it out. So they'd come in and they'd give her more medication, and she'd go back to sleep. And, you medicate them. They're easier to take care of that way. I don't like the way older people are taken care of in the hospital. Thank you, Lee. I don't like the way that they're taken care of. I mean, she wasn't even that old. She was 77. She had just turned 77. Well, she was going to be 77, I think. I don't remember. She was around 76 or 77. So she wasn't, it wasn't like she was, 99. She could have lived a lot longer, but she didn't want to. I know she didn't want to. She wanted to be with my father. He'd been gone 2001. This was 2013. He was gone 12 years. And especially the longer the time went on, the more she missed him. The older she got, the more she missed him. He was her rock. He took care of her. And she was his queen. And she missed him. So she didn't care, so much if she died. She really didn't. And so finally I told them, I said, I don't want to extubate her just to do it. I want her permission, because there was nothing in writing. So I wanted her permission. So I said, you have to let her be more alert, ease up on the medication so that she can communicate. So they did, and she became more alert, and she tried to pull the tube out. And I told her, I said, you do know that if they take that out and you can't breathe on your own, that you will die. I put it right like that to her, very blunt. And she nodded. And I said, do you still want them to take that out? And she nodded. So that was her consent. But because she couldn't verbalize it, she I had to sign the DNR, which was okay because I knew that was her wish. So it's really, really important that you take the time to fill out forms. You don't need a lawyer, you don't need a witness. It's not, I mean, there's this, your hospital or your doctor's office should have something similar. This is quite a few pages, and it explains things. Instructions for completing the booklet, a checklist, the 6 questions, instructions for my family and healthcare agent, tips for having the talk, internet resources, a guide to completing the Virginia Advanced Medical Directive, and then the directive itself. And then it talks about the Centra home health care, palliative care, hospice, that kind of thing. But let's see, it's 14 pages of information before they get to their commercial for Centra. And I really think the tips for having that conversation, if that's something that you anticipate will be difficult for your family to hear about. Let me see, where page 7. Don't you love how prepared I am? Yeah, sometimes that, family, they don't want to hear about it. They don't want to think about, that you're not going to be there forever. And so they push it away and they say, no, we'll talk. You're healthy. We'll talk about it some other time. Well, the best time to talk about it is when you're healthy. In fact, it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter. You could have a car accident. I'm sorry, I'm reading. Oh, that's wonderful that she had taken taken care of her documentation. Yeah, it's hard for people, but you need. I mean, you could have a car accident. What then? What if you're unable to say what you want? Don't you want it somewhere? Don't you want to die on your own terms? Some of the tips are: let your loved ones know you want to meet and share the plans you have made in the event of a routine medical procedure or other health-related event. Set a time and place and have a date set for the information you want to share. If it's hard to find a time when everyone can meet, choose a time when you already know you'll be together, like Thanksgiving or other holiday. I'm not 100% sure that Thanksgiving would be the best time. If you can't find a time, or if your family is scattered all over the country, Zoom is a wonderful tool. If you need to know more about how to use it, let me know. I'll be glad to walk you through it. It's very easy. If you can dial a cell phone, if you can make a call on a cell phone, you can use Zoom. Set a location where you can talk comfortably. Have a specific time frame for going through your plan and sharing your wishes. 2 hours allows plenty of time to share the information and have a lively conversation about what you and your loved ones would want when faced with a medical situation. Lively conversation, huh? Yeah, see, as far as I'm concerned, there's no conversation. It's, this is what I want, and this is what you'll do, because this is what I want. End of, period. End of discussion. Other families, obviously, there may be more discussion because they disagree with what you're choosing. And then you have to, discuss and see their point and then get them to see your point of view. Yeah, saying, I want you to do this if I'm dying. Pass the potatoes, please. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. I mean, for some families, yeah, maybe. For my family, for me and my sons, probably would work. But for my parents to do it with me and my brothers and our spouses and families around, that it wouldn't have gone over very well. um, Getting together for the talk can and should be a meaningful event. Have refreshments and encourage everyone to be comfortable. This one is make copies of all your documents so they can be shared. That's one I definitely agree on. Expect that there will be distractions and the subject will be changed as the conversation gets going. That may be true, but you're in charge of the conversation. So you keep control of it. Hi Travis, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Be prepared to bring the conversation back on track so that you accomplish the goals for the evening or for the meeting. Yeah. And then it goes into topics to consider, be informed, the conversation project. Okay. Yeah, it's called theconversationproject.org is a website. I'll put well, that's the only really one. Then there's one for Virginia. But if I see any other interesting websites in here, I'll put them in the comments afterward. So now I'm going to go. Now that I've done my public service announcement, I'm going to tell you something that I'm really excited about, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm a travel advisor. I'm still in training. That means a travel agent. I'm still in training. I hope to have my training done by the end of the week. The basics, and I can book anything you want. A cruise, a business trip, a family reunion, or a family trip. Europe. I can help you. My brother's already told me. He said, specialize in Ireland because I'm going next year. So I will definitely find out as much as I can about Ireland. I do have one suggestion for anybody who's considering traveling to somewhere they've never been. And that's do a search for that area on YouTube. I did a search for Ireland on YouTube and came up with so many travel, I guess they call themselves travel vloggers. It's a video blog. And so many of them had been to Ireland, and so many of them said that was their favorite vacation they ever had. But I got to know, I didn't get outside of Dublin when I was there. But I've seen so much of it through YouTube videos that I want to go back and I want to spend like a month or more just traveling around the country and getting to see all the beauty and meet the people and just the history. And it's like that in every country in Europe. It's so much, their history is so much older than ours. We think 100-year-old house is a big deal here. In Europe, they've got places that have been standing for centuries. Oh yeah, Alexandra, I'll help you. Yeah, I'll help you as much as I can. That would be great. Asian countries. That's the big destination for a lot of people lately is Asian countries, Turkey and some of the tiny little ones that I can't remember, with Japan, China. Um, yeah, there's a lot of them. Vietnam. A lot of people want to go to Vietnam and Korea. So yeah, I'll find out what I can and love to help you with that. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this, and that does not mean I'm stopping being a grief coach and the grief and happiness thing. That's still top priority. If you've got something that is keeping you from living your best life, whether it's grief or whether it's just whatever you think is happiness is elusive, I can help you with that. I can help you find happiness in your life. And that's my greatest joy. That's what it came from grief. It came from working with grief, because the whole idea of helping somebody with grief is to get them to feeling better. They say, you have to figure out your potential clients' pain points. What what do they want to solve? And obviously, if it's grief, over a spouse, you want them back. You want your parent back. You want your child back. Well, obviously, that can't happen. I may be good, but I'm not that good. So that I can't help with that. But the other thing is, they just want to feel normal again. They want to stop hurting so much. And I can help with that. I can help you find ways to work through the pain, because you have to. You have to feel it, but you don't have to feel it forever. And I can help you work through it. I can help you understand it. And then when you're ready, I can help you find your happiness. We'll find your purpose in life. We'll find your what's next. And the normal that you start to feel, the normal that you start to have in your life is going to be vastly different than it was before. But that can be good. My life is so different than it was when Dan was here. It's so different than it would be if he was still here. I would not be doing the things I'm doing now. I would not have met the people I've met. I most likely wouldn't have gone to Ireland. Things would be different. Do I wish he was here? Oh yeah. I would give it all up to have him back. But like I said, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen until it's my time to go and we can be together again. And so as long as I'm here on earth, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to be happy. And I am. I have my moments, of course. And I do fight depression. I actually saw the doctor today, and she's changing some of my medications around. because I've had some issues. I lost weight. I was doing really good. And then I stopped and I started kind of eating everything in sight. And I'd lost 125 pounds and I've put 50 of it back on. I'm honest. I have no hidden secrets, right? Maybe I share too much, but I know that. And I've been spending money that I don't have. I've been making plans to do things and then backing out at the last minute. I'm not sad. I don't cry. I'm not angry. I'm not what most people think of as depressed. But these other things, the overeating, the overspending, I can't concentrate on anything. I'll start to work on something and then the shiny object syndrome is so real for me, especially over these last 6 months or so. And I know that's part of how depression shows up in my life. The inability to focus, the inability to concentrate. I can read something, and then by the time I get to the bottom of the page, it's like none of it makes any sense to me. So I start out good, but then I lose it as I go. So she's changed some of my medications, taken away the main one that causes weight gain. But I was on that when I lost the 120 pounds. So anyway, Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan. Oh, that sounds like I want to go with you. That's another reason why I always thought it'd be fun to be a travel agent. And the opportunity came up and I said, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. I don't travel much. My biggest trip was Ireland. I've been on one cruise, and most of the traveling I do is going to Texas to see my sons and my grandkids. But I want to travel. So I'm hoping that I can increase my income with this so that I can travel. Anyway, I have gone on way too long, as usual. So it was great talking to you all, and I will see you next Monday. I don't know if you've noticed, but I did see, I can't stay focused on any one thing, but I did want to say that I've changed the name of my Monday lives. It's no longer Monday morning coffee breaks in the afternoon. It's Monday afternoon coffee break. Most people haven't been around long enough to understand what that other one meant. So it's going to be Monday afternoon coffee break from now on. So I will see you next Monday afternoon, if not sooner. And in the meantime, I hope the rest of your day is absolutely wonderful and you have a fantastic rest of your week. Bye.